this is Michaela. Welcome back. This episode is going to be based around things that I sewed back in February and how they're doing now that it's April, and what the heck I even did in the whole month of March. So, let's see. Let's start with March so you have a clue. Like, did I just dink around or what? But it feels like it flew by super fast. And no, I didn't just do nothing, I don't think. But I managed to keep some tomatoes alive that I started at the end of February, and then they sprouted up within a couple of weeks, and then it's just been bringing them inside and outside every night because it's still too cold outside to leave a vegetable or a little seedling like that out in the cold. So beyond that, when that germination dome technique worked, then I started some bell pepper seeds, and um, the only the hot pepper seeds came up. The lilac peppers and the white cloud or the heavy weight bell peppers even didn't come up. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong with that. It could just be that the seeds that I used were from not very mature or not very strong fruit. But so far, the only type of peppers I'm able to repopulate our hot peppers, and that's how it was last year too. But last year I kind of destroyed them by hardening them off. Like, I didn't harden them off, I basically just like left them out to dry and just see what happens. And I didn't mean to, but I think one night I forgot them overnight, and that was kind of it. They just withered all their leaves. They were nice long stalks, but all their leaves withered, and they just became sticks in some dirt. And some of them grew back, and I got tiny little dwarf fruit out of them last year. But yeah, that was hard on them. So I'm gonna try not to do that again this year. So far, it's worked out okay. Um, we've really been working a lot on the lavender field, and I haven't really talked about the lavender field much, so I'm planning on making a big video about that. But my dad, and Levi have been working on irrigation. Um, so they rented an auger from in town and dug trenches all around the field, which will give my flat garden, overhead irrigation this year, which it only ever had hose irrigation before. So that's exciting because just don't have to worry so much about the hose, and now it's just up to my dad to worry about the whole sprinkler system. So thank you, Dad. Um, let's see. The koi fish are coming out and eating, and we spent a long time doing that last weekend, the last week of March. Um, the little baby koi fish that I ordered, if you've watched any of the unboxing koi fish videos, those really aren't showing up right now still, but we expected that. Levi, my brother, has been building do-it-yourself fish traps to trap the natural fish that are like they got stuck in our pond, and now they're just repopulating themselves. And our pond is just an overflow pond from our artesian well. It was kind of a problem that started when the natural fish swam up our little creek from the river, and then we blocked it off to try to keep some fish that we bought alive and from swimming out to the river. And now the natural fish are just creating more and more. So we don't really want them in there. They aren't best in there. So Levi catches them and he either turns them into garden fertilizer or he puts them back out in the river, depending on what kind of fish they are. It's been fairly successful so far, but it's just tapered off in the last couple days. So maybe the fish are getting smarter, or maybe it's just how it goes. But Blessing, my baby bottle goat from last year, is a due April 17th ish of her first kidding, her first brushing. So I'm really excited about that to see what kind of baby she has, because we just have such a close bond because she was a bottle baby, and it'll be so special to experience that with her and just see how she is as her own little mama. So really looking forward to that. Aside from Passover, which is coming up, the middle of this month is when my family's going to celebrate it. So that kicks us off for the spring feast season, and that's really exciting. Um, April 1st, I believe, was the biblical New Year. So, if you don't know, the Bible, when you go by the biblical calendar explained in Scripture, the New Year begins in springtime. So, that makes more sense to you. Makes more sense to a lot of people, actually, that the beginning of the year starts when there's new growth around us. And so that's just pushing us into a summer season that I'm really looking forward to. And if you're interested to hear about the lavender, please leave a comment down below, because it'll encourage me to put that video together. I have a lot of footage of how it all came to fruition, but it's just figuring out how to tell the story. So that covers March and what we did. Now, going into April, we're touching back on the winter sown things that I talked about in one of my first garden vlogs. I had never winter sown anything before, and so I have no idea really how to do this perfectly, but I just treated it the same as the indoor germination domes that I did for my tomatoes and peppers. I've had some of the winter sown jugs germinate and send up little sprouts, and they are healthy. They've lasted, I've given them some cold nights to see if they were just gonna die on me, but nope. Even with it getting cold at night, sometimes even below 32 degrees, they're still popping up. So what I have is like poppies, lupines or lupins, some herbs, um, and arugula, and one kale. So some softer leafed things. But now just today I sat down with my mom and we went through the jugs and took out the seedlings that were getting to be strong enough, like tall enough on their own, giving them a new place so they could stretch out and grow. And we'll see if they survive the transplant. Some of the things that we transplanted are taproot systems, and those can be tricky to transplant, such as poppies, which I have a bajillion of poppies that came up in those milk jugs, and now I'm having to figure out how to transplant them. So far, just today, I don't know how it'll turn out, I'll update you, but today I took chunks of the seedlings from the poppy jugs and I just put them in a larger pot, which is a reused styrofoam cup from a gas station, and I'll see if they survive the transplant at this very young age. And if they do not, then I'll think of a different way to break up the clump. Maybe dig deeper down in the dirt, because even the depth that I did dig underneath of the little seedlings, thinking I'd be safe, did run into their little roots that had already started digging really deep. So, it's really cool to see all the different root systems, but I definitely went into my winter sowing not exactly knowing how to handle this season I'm currently in, which is when they start sprouting. And I don't really have an answer that I've seen from anybody online. They just open up these milk jugs and it's just like poof, poof of green. But then, like, do you worry about transplanting them? Or, like, what about these taproot things that I did? So, if you have any experience with this, then please comment down below or link me a video of somebody explaining it a little better. So going forward, I guess the focus is going to be on keeping the seedlings I have come up alive, continuing to monitor the seeds that come up in the winter sown buckets or milk jugs, and radishes, snow peas, lettuce, still need to work on lettuce. Cauliflower or broccoli come up, then I can move it out to the garden. Okay, so a tip before you go, if you want to know something that you can do, you don't have to be doing any of the stuff that I'm doing right now to still grow a garden this year. All of this stuff is like extemporaneous stuff that you do if it's not your, like, if this is your first garden year, you're not behind, you're good. You just need to be collecting newspaper or cardboard to lay down on your soil before you start planting in a month or so, to prepare your soil for planting. It'll soften it, the worms will come up to work it, and if you have access to wood chips or old, like, deteriorated straw bales from last year, you just lay that down over top of the cardboard or the newspaper that's covering your garden bed. look up the Back to Garden method by a man named Paul. I can't pronounce his last name, but you need to watch that documentary because it will really encourage you, even if you don't have all the muscle in the world or a tiller or the money for like garden fertilizer or anything. You just need to do the Back to Eden garden method, and it will help you out. So you have like another month to try to do something along those lines, and before we're going to be planting things like zucchini and um, the standard like garden melons and stuff that you would like usually think about a garden. Everything I'm doing now, herbs and all that, flowers, it's just fluff. It's just extra. So don't be dismayed. You still have time. But back to Eden gardening method, and I'll give you an update on whatever I have to talk about next time. And hey, future Michaela, how's it going when you come back to watch this video? Bye, guys. Thanks for watching today on this side of the firmament. See you next time. Bye.
Who can cheer the heart like Jesus? By his presence all divine.